Hi everybody, thank you for stopping by. This is Kimberly with Journal Breeze. Today I am going to show you the final version of this square journal that we started in the last video. I actually changed it up quite a bit and I re-aged it. And I'm also going to show you this one because I've decided to make these available to go to a new home. So if you are interested, I don't have an Etsy shop, and DMing me would be the best way to get in touch. Alright, so I am going to set aside this and its ephemera holder to the other side, and I'm going to show you this one first. And as I say, we started it in the last video, so if you haven't seen that and you might enjoy looking at it, it talks a lot about how I aged it. But in the end, I decided I wanted to age it even more. And I also ended up aging the fabric that I had already glued into it. But it worked out great. And I did other things to this, so I'll just show you and get rid of the conversation here. So anyway, this is my little secret writing hidden space tag. It's got a cute girl on the back. I thought that was really sweet. And the coloring was so perfect for this particular journal that I decided I would put it in the front. Oops. And you may decide you want to put it somewhere inside. I really left these, aside from putting in fabrics, vintage and French and older, I've left it blank for you to do, but I've included a lot of ephemera that you can put where you want to put. And this is a bow that I've tied around all of the pages rather than stitch them in, because again, you might want to add more or take out some of the things I put in. I've left it, I really made it without glue, except for the central fabric features, so that you could make it your own. And it doesn't really need a closure, but I intentionally left it open all night, flat, to help it really lay flat, which it probably won't do. It'll look like it is, but it'll be up a little bit from the ground. So then I found out when I turned it over that it wasn't going down all the way. So even in this short time, it's gotten a lot closer to being closed looking. Okay, so I talk about the papers and all of that in the previous video. I'm going to take this out for the moment. But this is pieced with different papers. And this is a very old collar that I recently purchased, and I cut it up before I got too attached to it. Yeah, this is the last of it, I think. I might have one more little sliver. I used it on something else and on this. On my Paris journal, I think I put it on there. Love this minty green. It's 8 by 8. And here we go. So these are the ephemera that some of the ephemera, there's more, that I've included for you. They can be cut out or they can be used as is. It's up to you. I love the background papers so much, I decided not to cut these out and just let you kind of decide. You could really write on the back of this. This one you might need to put a piece of paper on. But I think they're really beautiful the way they are. And I had this one in upside down because this is a very green blue. And I thought it was so pretty. Let's see, how did I have it? Did I have it like this? Yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was really beautiful. And then this is the pocket. This is glued down. It's holding all of the other, I mean, not really. It's just glued on this one piece of paper, but it looks like it's an inner binding, which I think is kind of cool. And it's a French fabric. These fabrics come out. This is from the French General. And this is from, I think, P&B. Quilting Textile. Quilter's Cotton, as they call it. So you can see I've made these really available. You can use them in this journal, you can use them in another journal, but I did put a lot of textiles in here, and So I think it's fun. It's kind of a twofer for you. Now I've done the aging. You can see what I did to get this coloring was that I used a large brush and I put more coffee over that French fabric. And when it dried, the glue that I had put on top of the French fabric came through and it looked like this. Who knew? I just love it. And this is a tea bag, and then I put these on either end because the tea bag was short, and this was repairing a little tear. Love this fabric, very French looking, early 1800s, late 1700s. And then I cut up a toile, writing space, and it's a pink textile holding card. I thought she was so cute. And this kind of burgundy was starting to have a theme. I'll just show you. I have it again at the end. This featured the bird. And this is actually the other part of the toile that I cut up. Isn't that cute? I love it. Farm life, farm style's kind of in, so I picked that as the toile to feature in here. Toiles were popular in the late 1700s, mid-late 1700s, mostly early 1800s to about 1825, 1830. Popular meaning made. Obviously they were popular to this day, but made, printed, it was quite the process. They were very expensive. And most of these, well again, look at the papers, but pretty much all of these were made by, probably all, were made by Chapter 1 papers. This was originally my design team project. This is organza, and I cut it out of a very vintage, like you could tell, because there was a patterned embroidery in blue ink, like an iron transfer, partially embroidered on another part of it. And it just was too new to go with this late 1700s look. So I didn't include it, but this is aged as the material was aged, which I think is super cool. It's really shiny, beautiful pink organza. Just beautiful. So whatever you might decide to put in the pocket obviously will show because it's very seeable and just feels so cool and ripped so beautifully like that. So again, a little tear here because this opens up. Now you can see where I did more aging. I took the brush and I just did more aging. I thought it looked a little too white, unlike the one I'm going to show you in a minute. I did it on all of them. I did them on every single one, and this has got some cool marks that came out. It's just, I love it. And yeah, so with these you could glue it down here so you could use it as a tuck, and of course you could glue it there if you wanted, or you could have writing under here, do whatever. I put coffee over this material as well. I don't think it made much of a change in this material, but I hope you can appreciate how beautiful that looks. And it's a really nice paper. It's not Xerox paper. It's not copy paper. It came out of these books I bought for educational purposes for kids, and they're square. That's how I got the idea and the cover and everything. And so I just love the way that it took to the coffee. And this is, I thought, just a beautiful paper from the kit. So whereas in the other one I don't add papers, I ended up adding some of the papers from the kit as pages. So they cover the cover and the back, and they are the ephemera. And now I've got, I think, 2 in the journal, or 8 sides, I guess you would say. Yeah, I thought this was beautiful. Kind of brings in some of the blue. More tea bagging for aging. Love the wrinkles. Again, that's from putting on more aging. I aged all these papers as well. Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful. Can you appreciate that it's got this additional row of flowers? They being Sue and Jen, call the papers that have a combination of things collage papers. So they'll have writing. This will have writing on the other side, and then a design in the center, and then a pretty domino type paper on the bottom. Remember how perfect this fabric was when I showed it last time? Well, I put some coffee on it here and there so you can see, perhaps, how it gets dark and light and dark and light. I love that. I think it just looks much older now and fits in with the aging look I wanted. So this again opens, and again I put more aging in. And just note that you all saw me in the last video put a lot of the Distress Oxide gathered twigs, and I went over all this with a watered, coffee watered brush, and it did not disappear. I don't know. You hear about oxide going away, but I haven't had that problem ever. It stays on just as good as Distress for how I use it, and I think this is a good example. And this is the center. And you all remember how I showed you 3 different versions of this, and this was the one that I opted for, which had a very short amount of time in the entire coffee bath. And so I opted not to darken this anymore. I had done the 3. This was the best of the 3. So I kept this the way it was. Tied a little knot in this center just to make it lay down a little skinnier. It was kind of open. But I just love, 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 love how this turned out. And it just feels like old, almost like, I don't want to say parchment paper, but it's soft, it's got a texture. It just feels old. I don't know what to say. It feels unlike the papers that we normally use. So this is the waterfall effect. These are all the papers, and I didn't want to lose that waterfall effect. So I cut the papers to fit so that when it laid flat, they didn't show. That was my goal. And then we go on. Look how that came out whiter and then darker and dots. And I love how this is always showing and this is always showing. I think it adds just a whole really old feel to it. Love this one. Again, the tea bags. You could easily add, other ephemera to this, a pocket, pictures. You could write on it. And then this is that document side of the mint and pink. Oh, I guess it was just pink and beige. I mean, just look at how that looks. It's fabulous. This, you could choose to cut off this beige border. That's what I would do. This is a piece of the ephemera. I would cut off the beige border. I would leave on this blue. It's spectacular, I think. And I backed it. And it's a great sheet under it, so you can write under it or whatever, you know that. Okay. And then here we are to the back, which I showed you before, with our farmer guy. And then people in the field, and the cow or dog laying in front of me. Looks like a Great Dane. Anyway, this farming pastoral thing fits the era of these French papers. And that's the back. So that's the green and pink one. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Okay. These are rusted. I get my rusted stuff from Rust. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Rust. Oh, she's so great. She's on Etsy. Rust. Oh, I can't believe it. It's 3 words. Rusted. Oh. I'll find it and put it in the description box for you. She has great stuff. Okay, that's number 1. And then this is the second one, which I did do a quick flip through in the last video. But now I've added ephemera pieces. So I'll show you those last. This has a journal, looks like a metal label, and I put gold wax on top of it to make it look like it's really deteriorated. I thought that looked really cool. And then there's a pocket on the back of this one, and this is part of the paper. I made 2 tags out of another paper in the kit. The kit is called Antique Papers, and there's 4 different kits, and they all come in blue and teal, and the other comes in pinks. So it's fantastic. Fantastic. And I just cut these out of, I wanted to get the design, so I featured that design and this design and this design. And I just thought it was beautiful. And I happen to have this teal and white ruffle that I did myself. I'm teaching myself to do ruffles, which is hard. I know it'll get easier with practice. Okay. And then we'll take this off. And you can see it lays perfectly flat, but this doesn't have as many things in it. No pocket. The other had that pocket there. This has no pocket. But great aging. Love the aging on this. Mostly tea bags. Some of it was the way I put it in the coffee and then dried it. This was when the coffee was fresh. I actually used the coffee over and over again for a little bit. So I think it, and oh, I know. When you put your paper in, one side gets a lot more of the coffee than the other. You really have to make a point of putting it on the other side, especially this paper, because it's, like I say, a little bit of a different kind of paper. And then I cut up a striped French fabric and put it on the inside of each piece. This one I glued down. It's a tuck. More coffee, more tea bags. Love how this line is on here. This is from my aging with Distress ink. I love how all these edges look. Oh, I just think it looks beautiful. And this is the center. That was the prettiest one on the fabric, in my opinion. I just loved it. So I saved it for the middle. I didn't age this. I think you could easily swipe some coffee over it. A very mild brew, and it would age it up. But some people might like it looking just like that. It is an older French fabric, but not antique or even vintage. More tea bags. I glued that as well. More tea bags and tea bags. They're kind of all over the place. Wherever I felt there was a weakness or a tear, I put tea bags on, which just, I thought, added to the whole thing. And then you have this, which is where you can keep this ephemera holder. And this is the back. The ephemera holder, as I'm now calling it, I actually made it as a, to hold ephemera, but it was a piece of ephemera itself. So you can use it as a piece of ephemera, or you can use the ephemera I've cut out in it to use on the pages. This is a stamp that I added. It's cotton. It's from Kathy Holden. And I added this. And I glued this up here. It's one of the pieces of ephemera. I should say, in both this kit and the other, I made the sheets that I cut the ephemera out 5 by 7. So when it's full size, they're bigger. Okay. Cute, huh? Aren't these sweet? And even though the ephemera is in here, I just loved the paper that went around it so much. Did I show you? I feel like I didn't actually show you the last page of the last journal because there's a bunch of ephemera in there. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. Oh my gosh, I did. I forgot. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay. Okay. I love this zigzag. I love this with nothing in it. I mean, you know, what do you do with it then? But I just love it. I love this paper. Oops. Okay, well, I won't fool around with it, but they all go in. This was in there too. Then we have some more. Sweet. I just could not cut out the ephemera only. I had to leave the cute backgrounds. I think I showed you that one. And the last is this and this. So pretty. So they could easily be used to make larger ephemera, to go into pockets that you may choose to put in there. Let's see, how did I have this? Wait. Yeah. I like this blue with this blue. Although this is really pretty. This was initially my cover. But it's a little too gold, so I thought, well, now that I've repurposed it, I think the blue is where it goes. Now let me show you. And then this is just a cool wire raffia that I bought a spool of, and I love it. So I thought it looked cute on here. It's pretty unique. Okay, so let me get this again. It's so crazy. This is the last page. I showed you this, but this is it. So back here, there's 3 sheets of ephemera. And again, the backgrounds are so exquisite that cutting them up is just taken away from it. I love them. So I wanted to put the documents with the document. And this is how it looks otherwise. I just thought that was beautiful. Just beautiful. All right. So that's our flip. I would love for them to go to a new home. I feel like they are unique and feel ancient. If you're not very good at aging yet, or you want something ready-made that you can do all your own stuff in, I think these would be great. Or they could be a gift for a friend that you want to get involved, who hasn't made the step, but if you gave her a journal like this, she would. That kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. So let me know. You can reach me, as I said, on Journal Breeze on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me, really. I have a website, and you can go there, and I think the website's on it. It's support at the name of my website.com, and all of that is right here on the YouTube. So I hesitate to put it on something like this and get a lot of spam and things like that. I don't mean to be cagey at all. I just am not. I don't like the idea of it being so easy to find. So hope you understand. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining me today. It was a pleasure to show this to you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye.